Dude, do we have an interesting one today? I haven't done one of these in a while. Revisiting an old trade and seeing how it looks like now. This is honestly one of the most fascinating things to do, and one of the most popular videos on my channel was reviewing the Shea Weber PK Subban trade, I believe 5 years later. So now we get one guy, Mikhail Sergachev, drafted by the Montreal Canadiens in the Stanley Cup final, and Jonathan Drouin, who, look, I mean, I know he went through his personal struggles, but let's be real and keep it strictly on the ice. He has kind of disappointed, especially holding up the pressure of being a Quebecois star like the Habs wanted him to be. And I missed this thing by one day. I wanted to upload this exactly 5 years later because this trade went down on June 15th, 2017. And if all goes well, I'm uploading this on June 16th, 2022. So one day later, unless you're seeing this on June 28th or something, then something really went wrong. But it should be pretty much 5 years from this trade happening. And usually with these revisiting a trade videos, I like to compare stats between the two players since they've been traded. Obviously, I'm not going to do that one here because you can't compare a guy who's basically a stay-at-home defenseman to a guy who's supposed to provide offense. So it's not really comparable in that way, but we can kind of compare them to what we thought they would be. So that means that comparing Sergachev's point totals to what he was supposed to be or projected as when drafted by the Habs, and same thing with Drouin, his point totals to what was expected of him as a Montreal Canadien. So looking at Mikhail Sergachev to start, the dude is 23 years old. Okay, he's 6'3", 216. He is a big boy, a big defenseman that NHL GMs get wet over. Like, this is just a dream for NHL GMs. And you can see that he's rounding into his own as a 30 to 40 point defenseman. He's going to give you between seemingly 5 and 10 goals a season, which is very, very solid. I wouldn't put him in a top 2 scenario, but I think he, as an NHL projection for the rest of his career, can be a very, very solid, effective, and valuable number 3 or number 4 D-man. And again, when he was drafted number 1 round, 9th overall in the 2016 NHL draft, you're looking at this guy, you're thinking he can be a number 1 or a number 2 defenseman. And while, I mean, he's still young, he's 23, to me, I know defensemen take more time to develop and this and that, but for me, I think it's pretty set in stone that Sergachev is a number 3, a number 4 defenseman, and a very good one at that. So he's not quite going to live up to his full potential of being a star defenseman or a number 1 or number 2 guy that you can rely on every night, but I think a great number 3 is a really good spot, and that ends up being a win in Tampa's books for this guy. And again, I know points on everything, especially when you're talking about a defenseman. And look, as a two-way guy, as someone who probably prides himself on his defensive ability, given that he's not a big point scorer, okay? He's no Cale Makar offensively. He provides some great defensive minutes, quality defensive minutes for the Tampa Bay Lightning. And look, yes, he's still got room to grow. I personally don't think he's going to end up being an elite defenseman, but a very good one. And there's also the playoff experience aspect to this. Like, how lucky is this guy that he's gotten to go through now what's seemingly 3 Stanley Cup runs where he gets so much experience, crunch time. He's played in so many playoff Game 7s. He's learned to kind of have that gene of ice in his veins, killer instinct when you get to Game 7 or an elimination game. And cool under pressure. He looks at guys like Hedman, Stamkos, Kucherov. Okay, they're calm. Why aren't I? Let's do it. So that's invaluable, and that's also a big part of it because I've seen so many players on so many teams absolutely crumble under the pressure. What do you mean it's Game 6? What do you mean it's Game 7? And they just get so nervous that they either disappear or make very bad plays and just play flat out bad. So the fact that this guy's able to stay cool, calm, collected is something that you can't measure through hockey stats, through numbers on the back of a hockey card, but it's very important, very valuable, and Sergachev has it. Now, on the Jonathan Drouin side of things, look, there's no denying that in the community, you saw him the other day at the kids' ball hockey tournament. He's always been like that. He's always been in the community, so proud to be Québécois and to be a Montreal Canadian. So there's no denying that off the ice, he's just been an amazing guy, amazing leader. Even I know the points and the production and the on-ice play hasn't been there, but despite the personal struggles that Drouin has had, he's been nothing but first class with the Montreal Canadiens, and that's something that he should be applauded for. But looking strictly on the ice, he has been a disappointment. Now, I know he's shown flashes. Like, I remember 2018-19 and then the beginning of 2019-20 before he got hurt, people were saying, whoa, Drouin, this is the star that we were asking for when we traded for him. Maybe he can turn into something here. This would be awesome. And then he gets hurt, and it's the same old story for Jonathan Drouin, where he just can't quite find his footing and can't quite find consistency in the NHL. His career high since being a Montreal Canadian is the same career high he had in his last year with the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is 53 points, and that was in 2018-19, the season that Max Domi went off with the Habs, and they were 2 points from making the playoffs, and Columbus beat them out for that 8th seed. And, in between that 53-point season for Drouin, he had a 46.1 in 2017-18 that showed some hope. But other than that, it hasn't been great. And you look at the plus-minus category for Drouin, it looks rough. So, look, this hasn't necessarily been an amazing trade for the Montreal Canadiens. And I know that a lot of people look back and say, you know what, I'd do that trade again because of the character that Drouin has. But I know that a lot of people are saying, hey, buy this guy out. Enough, okay? It's over. It's not going to happen with him. And I know there's other people who are still holding out hope and saying, look, if he's shown flashes like this before, he's only 27 and he's a 3rd overall pick. Who's to say he can't regain his offensive touch? But I know that there's so many Habs fans who are pulling for this guy for years and years and have lost hope. And honestly, I don't blame them. And again, you mix it in with his personal struggles, and it's going to be tough for him to regain top on-ice form, truly. And again, it looks like we're going to see either a buyout or the Habs are going to try really, really hard to move on from Drouin because the guy's already 27 and there's a rebuild incoming. Ken Hughes seemingly wants to turn over the page completely to a new culture, a new regime. I've mentioned this before, but handing the keys over to Caufield, Suzuki, and whoever the 1st overall pick is, probably Shane Wright. So Drouin just really doesn't seem like he's in the plans. So a buyout or a trade is very likely here. And if not, it's just going to be an awkward fit. It's going to be like, what is Drouin still doing here? That's literally what it's going to be like. So, it's sad because when this guy was first traded to the Montreal Canadiens, I was honestly so excited. I was like, you know what? He seems like such a motivated guy with the talent, the skill he has, with the fuel under him that fuels him, the fire from the Montreal Canadiens fans. It's going to be a match made in heaven. But it just never seemed to really click. And that's such a shame because I really thought it would. And let's be real here. There's no doubt in my mind that this is one of the poorer trades that Bergevin did in his time with the Canadiens. And it's clear to me that this was a really, really good trade, almost a robbery by the Tampa Bay Lightning. And they've won this trade. Because if Sergachev was still in the Habs system as a defenseman, they would love him right now. They could use him so much. I know you got guys like Caden Gooley coming through here, but Sergachev would have been an amazing piece there. And a lot of people saying, oh, he's just like Romanov. Romanov's the same as him. Could be, but are you telling me you don't want this guy as part of your defense core right now? Because I would. So to me, the Lightning won this trade, and it's kind of sad. I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below, as usual. Who won this trade? And Habs fans, what do you do with number 92, Jonathan Drouin? Let me know in comments down below. If you're new, like, subscribe, comment. See you in the next one. Peace out.